Joe Biden has for the first time pulled ahead of Donald Trump in Georgia as he inches closer to victory in the election. The remaining 1% of postal ballots are seen as more likely to favour the Democrats. Joe Biden has insisted the vote counting process is working properly. He's called for calm and patience and said democracy was sometimes messy, but he said he had no doubt he'd be declared the winner once counting was complete. Donald Trump has again complained without offering evidence of electoral fraud. In a subdued appearance at the White House, he claimed the election was being stolen from him. Trump supporters have protested on the streets as millions of dollars have been donated to a fund to mount legal challenges in a number of states. Turnout in the election is projected to be the highest in 120 years.
The strangest things have been happening. I took one glass of champagne and suddenly I found myself...
Sweetheart, let's sit down and talk.
What? You're a what?
I'm a witch.
That's wonderful. We'll talk about it tomorrow.
Now, I am a witch. A real house-haunting, broom-riding, cauldron-stirring witch.
It must be the champagne. It's been a hectic day for both of us. This getting married is not as easy as it looks.
Would I say I was a witch if I'm not?
We begin in the United States, where people are still anxiously waiting for an official winner in the presidential election days after polls closed. The race remains too close to call in a handful of states, but the chances of victory seem to be growing for Democrat Joe Biden, even as President Donald Trump vows to challenge the results. Either candidate needs to win 270 electoral votes to take the White House. Our U.S. partner ABC News says Biden needs 17 more. If his lead holds in Nevada and Arizona, that'll be enough. Even if he loses in one of those states, he can still take the presidency if he secures Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes. For Trump, Pennsylvania is a must-win state. His most viable path to victory involves taking North Carolina and Georgia and surpassing Biden in either Arizona or Nevada. In his first public appearance since election night, Trump called the vote rigged, but gave no evidence of any fraud. He lashed out at election officials, media, and his opponents, suggesting but not proving wrongdoing.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. We were winning in all the key locations by a lot, actually. And then our numbers started miraculously getting whittled away in secret.
Major TV networks cut away from the White House news conference over Trump's baseless claims. He's threatening to take his fight to the Supreme Court, although that could be a lengthy process.
A lot of litigation because we have so much evidence, so much proof, and it's going to end up perhaps at the highest court in the land.
Trump campaign officials have launched legal challenges in some closely fought races, but cases in Michigan and Georgia have already been tossed out. Now, Trump's family is also weighing in. Donald Trump Jr. fired off a tweet saying the best thing for America would be for the president to wage total war over the election. Twitter flagged the tweet as disputed or misleading. Biden set a much different tone at a news conference earlier on Thursday, saying the vote is sacred.
We have no doubt that when the count is finished, Senator Harris and I will be declared the winners. So, I ask everyone to stay calm, all the people to stay calm. The process is working. The count is being completed, and we'll know very soon. So, thank you all for your patience, but we have to count the votes.
4 more years! 4 more years! Count every vote! Count every vote!
As the ballots continue to be tallied, people are taking to the streets. Trump's supporters are calling for the process to be stopped, while Biden's are urging officials to count every vote. No major violence has been reported, but election officials are concerned about ensuring safety. And while all eyes are on the presidential election, Johns Hopkins University reported more than 100,000 new coronavirus infections in the U.S. on Wednesday, marking the most in a single day. U.S. media report more than 52,000 coronavirus patients are being treated at hospitals, with over 10,000 in intensive care. Some hospitals are nearly at full capacity and are converting all available spaces into coronavirus units. Other facilities are reporting a lack of personal protective equipment and a shortage of doctors and nurses. Health officials are worried infections could spread further as more people are expected to travel during the winter holiday season. In the UK, a second nationwide lockdown went into effect on Thursday. The country has seen a surge in both infections and deaths over the past few weeks. Johns Hopkins University says there have been a total of more than 48 million cases reported worldwide, and over 1.2 million people have died. Now, officials here in Japan reported over 1,000 new coronavirus cases for the second day in a row. In particular, the northern prefecture of Hokkaido is under the spotlight as infections there surge.
We are deeply alarmed by this danger. Winter is coming, so this is a crucial time as we push to keep the outbreak in check.
The region recorded 115 infections on Friday after hitting the 100 mark for the first time the day before. Now, the governor says he's likely to raise the alert level from 2 to 3 on a 5-tier scale. At that level, authorities can ask people to stay home unless their trip is essential. Bars and many restaurants in the heart of Sapporo City will be urged to close early. An expert is warning the virus could spread again in other parts of the nation as it gets colder and drier over winter.
The number of new cases has been more or less stable in Tokyo, but the virus is likely to survive longer in lower temperatures. That may lead to an upward trend in cases.
Nationwide, nearly 107,000 infections have been reported. Over 1,800 people have died. Tokyo's benchmark stock index hit a 29-year high on Friday. That was in line with other markets across the globe, despite the uncertainties around the U.S. election. The Nikkei stock average opened the day lower, but quickly swung to positive territory. It temporarily notched its highest level since November 1991. The Nikkei ended the day at 24,325, 0.9% higher than the previous day. The index has gained in recent days thanks to signs of an earnings recovery from the coronavirus pandemic and continuing policy support globally. Toyota is managing to turn a profit despite the impact of the coronavirus. Its results are in positive territory for the first half of this fiscal year, with a strong outlook for the whole period.
Our plants that were suspended by COVID-19 are back in operation. That return to work has been energizing on many levels. Let's make automobiles a driving force of the Japanese economy. We're moving in a positive direction, thanks to the committed efforts of our workforce.
Company executives say cost-cutting efforts are bearing fruit. A rebound in vehicle sales is also helping the bottom line. Now, Toyota's net profit forecast for the year ending in March is 1.4 trillion yen, about $13.7 billion. That's up about 95% from the previous estimate. The company is also revising its operating profit outlook by 160%. The automaker expects to sell 9.4 million vehicles globally over the same period, an uptick of 300,000 units from its last sales projection. While Toyota's latest earnings results shows the group stayed in the black during the April to September period, sales and net income were down by double digits compared with a year earlier. Next, one of Japan's major airlines has begun using a biofuel in a bid to reduce its carbon footprint. All Nippon Airways is taking on extra costs to implement the measure despite the pressure it's under amid the pandemic. The fuel is derived from food waste, including fat produced in meat processing. ANA officials say it can reduce overall carbon dioxide emissions by about 90% compared with conventional jet fuel. At Tokyo's Haneda Airport, Workers check its content as they fill up the aircraft.
We will continue these efforts to ensure our passengers feel confident that their travel decisions aren't harming the environment and they can relax and enjoy the flight.
The additional cost is an extra burden for the struggling carrier, but ANA maintains it's a necessary step to keep up with environmental regulations and expectations. We now shift back to Japan, where Prime Minister Suga Yoshida's refusal to appoint 6 nominees in the country's top academic body, the Science Council, is still causing controversy. More than 200 academic societies are now demanding a better explanation for the decision. They released a joint statement on Friday. It was signed by the heads of several societies in the humanities and social sciences.
The government's refusal is suppressing critical discussions that are the lifeline of the humanities and social sciences. It increases pressure to side with the government's wishes. We cannot overlook this situation.
Another professor said the issue has implications for Japanese society as a whole and may cause a chilling effect on freedom of thought, speech, and expression. Suga made the decision on the appointments weeks ago, drawing criticism from opposition parties as well as academics. The 6 nominated scholars are from the humanities and social sciences. All have been critical of government policy on matters including national security. We shift now to an artistic tradition in the ancient Japanese city of Kyoto. A famous calligrapher has been designing special signs featuring the names of the kabuki actors starring in year-end performances. Inoue Masaru specializes in drawing in a unique style. On Friday, he inscribed the name of a living national treasure. The characters are thickly brushed, leaving hardly any space between each line. The style reflects the hope that the theater will be full of spectators. The tradition of these signboards dates back to the 17th century.
I'm very happy that the performances will take place at a time when many traditional events have been canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Inoue will draw the names of about 40 kabuki actors to advertise the shows. They'll be displayed in front of the theater from late November for the December performances.